What's up, everybody? And today we are working on this Ford SUV Expedition, I believe. Very nice interior. Anyways, got a little scratch down here on the corner of the bumper. Something hit it and it just kind of like gouged all the paint off, and then this top edge right here. And then we had quite a bit of like scratches all down this edge, but I already polished it out. So I did do some wet sanding up here. Just nothing fancy, just paint correction, a little bit of wet sanding and polishing. But yeah, all that came out real nice. But now we're down to this this corner piece here. What we're gonna do is we're trying to do a budget job, to the point where, you know, they wanted me to just brush some paint on it, and I told them that that's something that they can do. That I'm not really, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And we're just gonna do this top piece. Oh look, here it ate some paint off too. So I bought the paint for it, and it was some exotic paint. I had to go with like the highest end paint possible. Not possible, that was the only choice. It was just like super high end stuff. So I bought some very beautiful paint. It's like a gray kind of charcoal, but like a heavy metallic. It looks really nice. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape everything off, like if it's ready for paint, and then we're gonna 220 all this down to the plastic, and then we'll get some glaze putty for plastic, and then we'll wipe some in there, we'll sand it down, then we're gonna spray can prime it. If you have the time, it would be nice to do a 2K prime at least. But we're gonna do just these little spots here. We're gonna do this very nice and fine. We're gonna spray 2 or 3 coats of rattle can primer, a good quality one at least. And then yeah, we're good. Then we'll sand that back down and then paint it. We're gonna all do this here in the next few hours, because again, this thing has to go tomorrow. So that's just what we're dealing with right now. But let's get to it. Alright, so here I'm pretty much just taping it up, and I'm doing it one shot instead of taping it up for primer and then taking it off. And there was a painter I used to work with that kind of showed me this way, and once you get the hang of it, it works out pretty good. It looks like this thing here popped off. I don't know if you guys can see, but this thing here is popped out. Got it taped up, right, all our edges. Now we're gonna 220 this baby. So I got my DA, and then we're gonna just 220 these scratches out. All right, you see how that sounds? How that sounds? That sounded out pretty good. So just got a few little low spots here. You could keep hitting the plastic and kind of get it smooth, but I'm just gonna wipe it down. I have a little bit of glaze putty there because they're a little bit deep. I don't want to take down the plastic that far down. So now I'm just doing this edge up here since it was a little bit kind of wrinkled. Just taking the paint off, getting it down to the plastic. Looking pretty good. All right, so now let's I'm gonna mix up some glaze putty and just kind of wipe down these little spots right here. I mean, this all is pretty good. A glaze putty that is a flex. This is pretty much for plastic and flexible things. It doesn't, when it dries, it doesn't turn like rock hard like regular Bondo, so that way if there ever is flex here, it doesn't crack again. All right guys, so we went ahead, and we sand it down with 220 with the DA, and then I put that 220 on a block and then just kind of block that down, get it nice and straight. So now I put some 320 on here, and then we're just gonna go back over all these 220, and we're gonna go back over it with 320. So this plastic here, you can prime it over 320, but if you go over with 600 grit, it helps that primer to kind of lay down smoother and not be so kind of fuzzy. If you prime plastic before, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. If you sand it too rough, it'll be kind of like fuzzy and hairy, and then you gotta like fill all of that in. And so if you just kind of take it down with 600 grit, it just sands down, it just primes so much smoother, and then it'll sand down so much smoother. So scratch down here too. Taped up the bottom lip there, and we didn't plastic the whole thing. We're keeping this super tight, but you could always bag it off just to give you that cheap insurance. But we're pretty good here. We're gonna keep this low pressure, just a shot or two. This is very kind of not a patch up. This is doing it right, but this is, to me, is almost in the patch up side, just from how quick we're moving by not using 2K primer. But this is the primer that I'm going to be using from Transtar. So once you got it all taped up, wipe down, blown off, and we're going to spray a little bit of this primer here. We're just gonna throw one shot like that light first, just to kind of let it bite down, and then we'll do another coat a little bit heavier, and then we'll do a third coat a little bit heavier, and then we'll give that 20-30 minutes to dry up, and then we'll sand it down with some 400 to 600, and that's it. And then we're gonna mix up some base coat, blow it all off, wipe it down, tag it, and paint this baby. All right guys, so this has been sitting for 30-40 minutes, and it is very hot out. I probably can't wait any longer. I'm gonna block this down with some 400 grit. Nice and soft, not much pressure.
I really hate using rattle can primer. For this case, I'm not using Bondo, I'm using a glaze putty, but it still absorbs. So Bondo sucks in your primers, and by using a can primer, it just kind of sucks it in, and when it hits the sun, a lot of times you'll be able to see a little ring around your bodywork. I'm doing it this way because that's what the guy wanted. We're on a time crunch. I really recommend doing a 2K prime.
All right, now I'm gonna dance over it with the DA with some 600 grit.
So here we're gonna spray our base coat, and as long as you don't go crazy heavy, then you're fine. Base coat is pretty decent, it's thin. So on your first coat, don't go so heavy. This is a nice wet coat, kind of medium. And, it's not super light, but it's not super heavy. And it is very hot this day too. So it's already pretty much drying off. And then now I go back over with the second coat. This has been after a couple minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then the second coat I do go a little bit heavier, and then pretty much ready for clear now.
All right guys, so we got our 2 coats of base coat on there, and we try to kind of blend a little bit here towards the side, Try not to, you know, paint up to there. But so far so good. I just finished tacking it off. I got my clear mixed up. So let me spray 2 coats of clear, and then we're pretty much done for the day on this. And then after like 30 minutes, an hour, I'll come and I'll unwrap some of it, and then I'll pull the car in and let it sit overnight. But we're at the last step. Let's polish this. Let's clear coat this thing. So that's 1 coat, 1 kind of tight coat. Yeah, so far so good. Alright, let's hit with the second coat. Really good. So we got it painted, and that color is very nice. Looks good. But we fixed our spot that we needed. We did a couple little extra spots that we saw, and so far so good. I mean, I think this guy's gonna be super happy. I think he's gonna be super happy about this corner. I think he's gonna be just more excited about the polishing on that fender. That's just something that he kind of pointed out and wanted me to try to do a little spit shine. And he got the full paint correction, so we got all those scratches out, and it looks really nice. So there you guys have it. It's just a quick little job, nothing crazy. If it's something that interests you guys and you guys want to learn more, check out the link below. I do have some courses, and I have a free Mina course to kind of show you the 4 parts of painting. So if you are interested, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you follow, so that way you catch me on the next video. Peace guys, I'll catch you on the next one. So it's been probably about like an hour and a half since we painted it, and I went ahead and just took off all the paper, just carefully, nothing crazy, but it looks really good. Here's right up here where those little chips were, right here where that scratch was, all that is completely gone, all looking nice and shiny. Color looks good. So we're out. We're gonna pull this thing here, just let it sit overnight, and tomorrow morning this thing will be gone. So a quick job, nothing crazy, but I kind of like these in and outs faster than those full jobs of sanding for 3-4 days. Those things kind of get to me a little bit. But anyways, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.